everyone, it's Kelly.
And I'm Claire, and this is our second video of Kelly and Claire's recovery. And as you can see here, we are wearing our best friend sweatshirts, which we got from Pinterest.
Yay, Pinterest!
Yay, so awesome. Mine is blonde and hers is brunette, even though she's kind of a blonde.
Kind of, but it's okay because they're really, really cozy.
Yeah, they're so nice.
So today we thought we would talk about eating disorder myths that we've heard a lot throughout our recovery.
Yes, and so we have 10 of them, and to start, the first one that we thought of is people with eating disorders don't eat, which
is false.
Very, very false. Because, I mean, long story short, if you don't eat, you're kind of dead, and people will have eating disorders for years, so
yeah,
it doesn't really...
It's pretty, eating disorders usually last for a really, really long time, and it's not that people with eating disorders don't eat, they're obsessed with food.
Right.
Whether it's restricting their food, binging on food, they plan what they want to eat, where they want to eat, when they're going to eat, their whole day is just consumed by food. So it's not that people with eating disorders don't like to eat, it's that they're mortified, but their entire day is pretty much consumed by food.
Right, and a lot of times people with eating disorders will only eat in private, so like if you see somebody and they're not eating, you think like, oh my gosh, they never eat, but they really are afraid to eat in front of people, so they only eat, when they're alone, or it could be the opposite, and you eat a lot when you're with your family. Because that's like the only time that you would eat. So you're not really getting like a full view of what the person is really doing. So
that's our first one.
Yep.
Our second one is people with eating disorders have a negative BMI. That's a little bit exaggerated, but what we mean by that is people with eating disorders don't necessarily have a low BMI. It's pretty common, and statistics usually show that people normally have a normal weight, or they can even be overweight. And in the media, a lot of the times you see people who are stick thin, and that's pretty stereotypical, and it's not really the case a lot of the times.
Yeah, there are so many different kinds of eating disorders. There's bulimia, anorexia, EDNOS, which is called something different now.
It's like OFSUD.
Yeah, so
there's even binge eating disorder.
Yeah, binge eating. So there's a lot of different kinds of eating disorders. It's not all about BMI at all. So
nope.
That's our second one. And our third is people with eating disorders don't like food. And that's another very false statement.
Very false. I love food.
Yeah, I do too. Actually, people with eating disorders are kind of obsessed with food. I find that they're just afraid of it. It's like a fear of food, even though they love it, or they can be like afraid that they really like it.
I know when I was in my eating disorder, my entire day was pretty much revolved around food and planning what I wanted to eat. I would always go on Pinterest and look at recipes that I would never make for myself, and always planning what I'd want to eat, but then I wouldn't eat. You like food.
Yeah.
Everyone likes food.
Yeah, really. I don't know of anybody with an eating disorder who I've met that doesn't like food. It's always just a big fear. So, then number 4, you can tell someone has an eating disorder by their outer appearance.
That's false. We kind of already talked about it with the low BMI, but it's pretty common for people with eating disorders to have either a normal weight, to be overweight. It's pretty uncommon for people with eating disorders to be underweight.
Yeah, this one, number 4, is kind of like a self-explanatory one. There's all types of eating disorders, and you can't necessarily tell that a person has an eating disorder just by their appearance. Everybody is built differently. Everybody is, made differently, has a different body type. It's, no one person is the same.
So the next one is eating disorders are just a phase.
Nope.
So
it's something that stays with you for your life, and it's something that you have to work really hard to overcome. Not saying that you can't recover, but it's something that
it's more than just a phase.
Right. You have to work really hard at.
And I think it's even more stereotypical in younger girls or guys that eating disorders are just a phase that they go through during puberty or while they're growing up, and it's something they'll just grow out of. So I feel like a lot of the times eating disorders kind of go unnoticed, even especially in younger people, just because parents are always like, oh, they'll get over it, or oh, it's just a phase. I know for me, like, everyone said it was just a phase, and here I am, years later. Not a phase.
Nope, not at all. So then number 6, we have eating disorders are all about looks. I know we've talked a little bit about this already, but they definitely are not. They're about way more than that. Yeah, looks can be a part of it, but they're not solely about looks.
Yeah.
There's, stress and
self-hatred,
Yeah.
depression, guilt, shame. There's a whole
anxiety.
lot of other issues besides
Yeah,
looks.
and control too. That was always a really big one for me. Is control, like needing to have control over like what I'm eating, control over what I'm doing, what my body looks like. So that's another big one for people.
I know in a lot of the magazines and on TV, it's kind of seen as like a vanity issue, and eating disorders are vain is something that I tend to hear a lot. But like Claire said, it's not really about your looks at all, and you're just trying to take some control back of when everything else in your life is out of control.
So number 7, eating disorders are a choice. They most definitely are not a choice. If it was something that we could just get over, there wouldn't be such a high need for treatment facilities. There wouldn't be like a strong need for support systems, and people wouldn't be dying.
And the relapse rates wouldn't be so high, because it's pretty common for people with eating disorders to be going in and out of treatment facilities. And I know that was the case for both of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and eating disorders, they are a mental illness. They're not a choice. You can choose recovery, which we are doing, and I hope all of you out there who struggle with eating disorders do too, but you don't choose to have one.
No, most definitely not. Eating disorders can be cured by going to treatment. That is a huge false again.
Yes.
Again, it's really common for people with eating disorders to be going in and out of treatment. The relapse rates are really, really high. It's not because people aren't meant to recover. It's not because treatment facilities aren't providing good care. It's just a disorder where it manifests in different ways. When you control one aspect of the eating disorder, it can morph into other behaviors, which is pretty common also.
Yeah, treatment can definitely help, but recovery is something that you have to work on continuously. A lot of people get their start in treatment, but you need to keep going with it even when you're out of treatment. Like, it doesn't ever get a day off. It's something that you have to constantly be working on.
I know when me and Claire were in treatment our first time, it came to the weekend and we were like, oh, we get a break from recovery.
Yeah, I remember saying that specifically too. Like, oh, my break is up. No.
And everyone's like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't get a break from recovery at all. And one thing I want to emphasize is, I know for both of us, when we had to keep going back to treatment, we were like, oh my gosh, we failed at treatment, we're never going to recover. But you're not the same person after treatment.
No.
You aren't starting over, you're continuously growing as you're recovering. Like, you aren't stagnant in your journey.
Right. So then, number 9, getting better is just about eating more and gaining weight. That is definitely not true.
A lot of people think once your weight restored, if you do have to restore weight, that you're all better, but the mental aspect is still an issue. It's still lingering in your head.
Yeah, your thoughts are still there, and that's one of the biggest things you need to work on, because even if you are weight restored, first starting out, it's the thoughts. It's always the thoughts that are first, and then if you experience changes in your body, that's usually secondary. So you really need to take care of the eating disorder thoughts.
And a lot of the times, you have to be nutritionally better before you can start working on the mental aspect. because once you, like, when you're first starting treatment, like, you're in a different world. Like,
Mhm.
you're not thinking clearly because you're nutritionally, like, depleted of everything normally. So once you're nutritionally, restored, if that makes any sense, then
Yeah.
you can start working on the mental aspect.
Yeah. So those were our 9 ed myths. Hope you enjoyed that.
Hope it was helpful for you guys.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.